Hello, and welcome to our webinar on how to transform your people into superheroes with AI. Well, let's have a look at what's in the webinar. We'll start off with a bit of an introduction about AIgile and who we are, and explain the services that we offer. We'll then have a look at what makes a superhero at work. What's the ideal person you're looking for at work? And then have a quick look at AI, where that's sitting at the moment. It's changing very quickly. So this is just a snapshot of where it is now. And then we'll have a look at what's the best process for adopting AI. We'll then look at some practical AI tools that you can use. We've pulled together a whole list of what's currently our favorites in a number of areas. We'll look at what your next steps are, if this is something you want to get going on. And we'll have some room for questions at the end. Let's dive into it. Who is AIgile? Well, good question. Well, we have three areas of the business, and the first area is AI software development. And this is how we started out. The team's background is largely in software development, and so one of the things we looked to do was to look at the process of software development and how we could use AI to improve that. We then started increasingly getting asked to help companies with their AI adoption journey. And so we've started helping companies with that too. And then most recently, we've launched a series of AI learning workshops specifically for business leaders. And really what we're aiming to do is help you end to end through your AI adoption journey and support you through this AI revolution that is happening now. So if we look at the AI software development side of the business, what we've done is we've taken the agile process, so to plan, design, develop, test, deploy, review, and launch, and then continue that cycle through. And we've applied AI through every step of that. So using tools to help in the planning, help in the design, open development, testing particularly, deployment with automations, even automated reviews and data collection, and then even the launch process as well, and how we can use AI to help with that. And the result is we're producing software faster, it's more reliable, so it's a better quality, and therefore costs are lower as well. So we're really saying that's a much smarter way to develop software these days, rather than what you might have done even only 2, 3, 4 years ago. We then look at AI adoption. We have a whole series of support services for that. So AI strategy and planning, policies and procedures, risk analysis, tools and technology choices, automations and integrations, AI change management, workshops and training sessions, performance tracking, so the measurement of AI, and then also looking at how we can drive continuous improvement and supporting the through continuous improvement. And so what we're really trying to achieve there for companies that made the decision, they say, okay, we want to adopt AI now, that we're looking to try and make that fast, safe, and effective, that process, and help you through that as quickly as possible so that you can quickly get the benefits of AI. And then to help with that again, we've launched this series of learning workshops now. These are specifically for business leaders. So we have an introduction to generative AI for business leaders, developing a business AI strategy, developing AI business policies, the responsible use of AI in business, automating business processes with AI, and then monitoring AI performance. Now, these are all 4-hour workshops, and they're pretty intense. Then they're online as well, but they're facilitator-led. They're not sort of e-learning in traditional sense. So they're sort of hybrid approaches online, but facilitator-led. And we have these running as open workshops, and you can go and book on one of those if you want. But if you also want us to run these in-house, we can do that as well, and customize them or develop specific learning workshops for you as well if you want to. So look, that's Agile, that's how you pronounce it. And as I say, we're here to support you right through that AI adoption journey and everything you need to do as far as AI is concerned in your business. So let's have a look at what makes a superhero at work. So we just want to get the context and try and understand where we think people are at the moment. And the reality is, for a lot of people, a lot of employees, particularly, not all, we understand that, times are tough. So Gallup suggests that only around 23% of employees are engaged. The vast majority are no longer engaged. And this engagement has been on a decline since 2020. The start of COVID has caused that. Then we had the work from home. And indeed, that work from home, a lot of people prefer it, but they're also less engaged at work as well. And 71% of people, according to some EY research, fear losing their jobs to AI. And a lot of the reason for that is because many companies have not taken a position on AI. Employees don't really understand, what's happening within the business. Are they going to lose their job? Is AI going to replace them? And a lot of companies have not yet really worked out what they're doing. And so there really is an opportune moment here, not just to use AI to improve people's performance, but also to just create that plan, help people understand what's happening with AI in your business right now. So let's have a look at what employers want from an employee. And interestingly, this is typically what most employees want too. So the first one is to be happy and motivated. We all want everyone to be happy and motivated the vast majority of the time. But we also want them to be productive and effective. So higher productivity is good for the business. We want them to be contributing and a team player, so that they're working not just for themselves, but for the team and the organization as a whole and making a valuable contribution. We want them to be reliable. We want them to be agile and have agility these days. Things change far quicker than they ever have before. So people need to adapt and be flexible. So we're looking at that level of agility. But we also want, and employers tend to want their staff these days to be continually learning and on top of what's happening in all areas of their role. But as I say, it's interesting because most employees want that too. Now, there's lots of ways of improving in all of those areas. The question we're trying to ask is, can AI make a difference? Can we use AI to improve in all of those areas? Well, let's have a look at AI and our understanding of it at the moment, at this point in time in 2024. So the first question is, how big is AI? And we can see from this chart here that we're sitting somewhere around $185 billion as an industry. We'll expect to grow to $320 billion next year and continue to rise and rise and rise. And so we know these are just some odd, numbers I've pulled out to try and show some indication of the scale. ChatGPT has 180 million users. It took 5 days to get to 1 million users. That's faster than any other technology has achieved in the last forever. They've also received $14 billion in investments. Again, it's quite hard to wrap your head around the scale of that. Absolutely enormous. And the amount of investment that's going into AI at the moment is truly mind-boggling. 33% of technology and service providers and the service provider industry plans to invest more than $1 million in AI technologies. So we know that a large proportion of companies are already signed off, had budget to invest in AI. And 83% of companies claim that using AI in their business strategies is a top priority. So what we're seeing is this huge uptake, huge growth in the space, lots of plans to do something, not necessarily the level of adoption yet that we'd like to see. So companies are not yet getting the benefit of it. And that's particularly true in Australia, who tends to be a little bit conservative with new technologies. But there's more. I'm just putting this into context. Forbes says AI is growing on the stream. We probably know that. They're showing 37.3% growth between now and 2030. Previous chart probably said more than that. Gartner reports that over 10,000 new AI tools and software services have been launched this year alone in 2024 so far. And McKinsey report forecasts that AI advancement could affect around 15% of the global workforce by 2030. And President's research found that global artificial intelligence market is valued at $454 billion already. And that's different from the previous chart. So there's obviously discrepancies around there. And I think you've got to take some of these numbers with a little bit of a pinch of salt. It's very early days and hard to measure exactly what's happening. But we know it's big already. It's growing very fast. It's impacting people. And if it's not impacting them now, there are a lot of plans to impact companies and people one way or another. And I just really wanted to wrap up on the AI side at this sort of high level with this great quote from Bill Gates. People often overestimate what will happen in the next 2 years and underestimate what will happen in 10. I'm guilty of this myself, which is what he said at the start of the internet, or off the back of his book. And that was those figures probably right. It really took, think about 95 to 2005 when we started to see social networks and so forth. That was the really big impact of the internet coming through in about 2005. But I think what's happening in AI, because we are shifting to a point where change happens so much faster, it's not 2 years. It's every couple of months there's change. And maybe 10 weeks is what we're talking about. We're already seeing massive impacts. But, this is a bit of a quote. This is what we are seeing is definitely that early stage of the hype cycle. We're probably through that a little bit. But what we're starting to see now is a lot of the tools, there's not so much hype about. They are improving incrementally week on week, and new products are launched, and new services are launched, new integrations are launched. And so we're seeing this shift from time, which is very exciting, into real practical application for businesses. But what do we mean by AI? So I just want to sort of try and frame this a little bit to help you understand, certainly what we mean, and I think what's widely accepted to be meant by AI. And the first sort of global area is this artificial intelligence. And this is this broad science of mimicking human abilities. And that's very broad. But we've also got then the next layer down is machine learning. So mimicking the human ability to learn. And typically that's on very high volumes of what we would call tabular data. So the type of data that it's in a spreadsheet or a database, in the hundreds of thousands of rows or millions of rows or the tens of millions of rows. Machine learning can be used to categorize and group and understand that data in ways that humans might find difficult. And it can expose really interesting elements of that data. But we've then got this sort of subset of machine learning, which is called deep learning. And this is much more sophisticated. It's rather than learning on that tabular data, it's learning or training on text, images, video, and audio. And so it's a much more complex and rich data. But again, deep learning is about learning about that data. And then finally, we've got this area which we call generative AI, which is the generation of original content, and data, and even decision making now from filling that deep learning data. And so the ability to use that to create. And that it's that generative AI and ChatGPT came out 18 months or so, 2 years ago, that first beta, and everyone started talking about it. And we've seen the level of sophistication grow and grow and grow week on week over the last couple of years. So we have all of these areas here. What does that mean for your typical person working every day? Well, the way we've tried to explain this is, imagine your superhero has got a utility belt. And this is what we want to do with all of your employees, is give them a utility belt. And first of all, they might be using AI search instead of traditional search. So instead of just getting a list of potential websites, we actually get a summary of the top websites with links to the key areas, and additional information and related information all on one page, making search much, much faster. AI chat, text, and copy generation. So the creation of words and the ability to create content very, very quickly from a prompt. So prompt engineering, you might call that, around text and copy generation. But of course, there's image generation too, and the standard of images are growing. This background image here of the superhero, created by ChatGPT in an illustrative style, with a quick and simple prompt. We've got audio generation, and there's various ways that audio can be used. So that might be in transcribing from videos, that might be the creation of music, all kinds of areas that businesses can benefit from with that. And video generation, again, there's some services in this area. It's very compute intensive, but already there are a lot of AI video tools, very powerful, very, very fast as well. Then there's things like project and task management. So just handling the everyday, how can we automate and improve that? There's other industry and role-specific AI tools, AI automations, and then tools specific to your business or industry and verticals as well. So if we look at that, if we think about that belt and having all of those tools available, how do we get that belt onto your employees? And there's a very good chance that some of those people are using some of those tools already. Are they using it in a way that aligns with business objectives and business values? Are they using it in a way that is secure and maintains privacy? Are they all using different tools in different ways, and therefore it's inconsistent? Is the output in the company voice, for example? And so what we've done is we created this 10 steps to successful AI adoption. The first one is understand the risks. It's very important that people in your business understand the risks of using AI. There are many. We've identified 9 that are general risks, but there will be others which are specific to your business and your industries. There's then an assessment process. Look at the areas across the business where there is opportunity to use AI. We then need to make a strategic plan. Let's plan out how we're going to adopt this, what we're going to do, and commit to that. And within that plan, we need to look at how to map processes and automate wherever we can, how to measure and how we measure the performance of AI. And then what tools and technologies are we going to use, and making those choices wisely. We then got to think about how are we going to change the way people work. then to manage that change, through good communication, where we're clear about what's happening, and make sure everybody understands the journey that's going to happen. But because this is, and as AI is changing so much, we have to really adopt a continuous improvement mindset. This is not a set and forget. And then finally, work with the right partner. Now, we'd love to work with you, but of course, whoever you work with, it's not worth trying to do this all on your own. That can be pretty painful and difficult. And so you're as well to work with somebody like us, not necessarily else, but somebody like us to help you through that process so that you can adopt AI effectively. And typically, we go through these 3 layers of adoption. We look at the organization as a whole, we look at teams and team adoption, and then we look at the individual. And so at the organization level, we have leadership, strategy, policies, high-level communication, cross-company measurement, tools and technologies that work across the company, and what is the change management process. Then at the team level, we look at process mapping, tools, technologies, automations, again, the change management, how we're going to manage this change, measurement, again, at the team level, and this continuous improvement mindset. Now, for the individual, this is where we really like to help people adopt a master apprentice approach. So if you think of shifting your typical employee's role, so they're no longer just the doer, they're now the master. They become the expert in that role, and AI is their apprentice. So as a result, they need to change the way they work. And that change is about being able to give good briefings, review work, give feedback, check work, and make sure that the AI tools are working as they should do. And that will often require some additional skills. And so those people need to get up to speed with the capabilities of the tools and technologies, and use those tools to remove those repetitive, boring tasks so that they can spend more time on the, more interesting aspects of their role. But they need to learn how to use those tools. There's some broader skills they might need to learn, and prompt engineering is an obvious one that they need to work on. And so if we can do that, what we end up with is happy and motivated people, because they're doing the interesting part of their job. We see that they're productive and effective because we're using generative AI and automations to speed up a lot of stuff they do. And as a result of that, much more interesting as well. And so they're contributing. So part of that contribution is they're more available as a person because they're not stuck on one repetitive task. They can be more actively involved at a team level. But also because going through this process aligns the team, is clear about who's doing what, where the responsibilities lie, and that's good for the performance of any team. They're more reliable because if you can automate a lot of these boring tasks, they get done quickly, they get on time, and they get done right. And so really is a reduction in errors across many areas of most roles. Now, because their role has changed, they also have this agility because they're there checking and making sure and reviewing on a regular basis and build that into the process. Then what we see is increased agility, not sort of set and forget, and they're thinking much more ready to make changes when they need to happen. And just going through this process, they're learning new knowledge, new skills, very valuable for the business, valuable for themselves, and that in itself is very motivational. So good for the employer, good for the employee, and that's what we're trying to achieve. So you end up with this whole team of superheroes in your business. So what are some of the practical tools? We get asked this all the time. So this is, again, a bit of a snapshot in some of those areas. And I think these are all great. And it's very likely in 3 months or 6 months, some or all of these will have changed because it's evolving all the time. But let's have a look. So search, big fans of Perplexity, and it's just hands down better than Google's AI search at the moment. And if you haven't had a play with Perplexity, have it play. It's well worth it. If we look at this sort of chat, text, and copy creation, then of course ChatGPT is great, but really good generalist tool. Claude, we think, is a bit better for creative writing. Grammarly, really good for spelling, grammar, and writing style. But if you're looking for something for marketing, SEO, getting your brand voice right, Jasper's just taken that to another level. Really nice AI tool, well worth a look at by your marketing teams. Images, ChatGPT, quick, good image generation, well worth a look at. Midjourney, slightly better quality image. Adobe Creative Suite, good for generation of images. If you've already got it, it's expensive, but if you've already using it, then well worth using that. And particularly good, has some really powerful AI tools around editing images. They just launched the Magic Edit. It just fixes images using AI, which is great. Pixlr is a low-cost image editor. And image generation, so well worth a look at, very good. It uses different models, so worth a look at. Canva's integrating a lot of AI tools in their service as well. And if you're looking for diagrams, so, sort of flowcharts, that type of thing, if you want to, illustrate a sales funnel, for example, then Napkin, really nice. It's new, and it produces diagrams and infographics from text. And then any tool that uses Flux. So Flux is an underlying model. It's being used in a number of areas. So Anakin.ai has a free option there. And Flux is creating some beautiful images at the moment and really on a level from what ChatGPT and Midjourney can offer. But it's very, very new at the moment. Well, on the audio side, we love Udio for creating original music. We then got Murph does voiceovers in multiple styles. Speechify, another great voiceover tool. Chris is an AI assistant, which will listen to meetings and summarize. And again, Assembly is really good for meeting notes and more. So listening into audio, transcribing audio, and summarizing, very powerful tools there. Let's have a look at some more though. So video generation and editing. So Cantions, AI, short video editing, Descript, really good for transcribing videos, Runway, short video generation from text prompts, Luma, another great short video creation tool, Hotshot.co is new. It produces some amazing videos. And then we've got Sora, which is OpenAI's. That's coming soon. Been coming soon for a while, so I'm not sure when that's coming out. But again, these are producing short, sort of up to 30-second videos beautifully. So worth exploring all of these if you need to produce videos. Then on the project and task management side, we're big fans of ClickUp. We use ClickUp. Has really deep AI integration into the tool. Very, very good. Notion is also very, very good. Really good. Probably a little bit more flexible than ClickUp, but maybe a slightly steeper learning curve or needs a little bit more setting up. But ClickUp's very flexible as well. And then if you're looking for something much simpler, then AnyDo is really good for simple task management. There's some nice AI tools into that, and it is worth exploring. Then on the automation side, we've got 3 options here. So one is Zapier, really quick, very easy, short learning curve, but it is a little bit limited. It's limited in that if this happens, do this. If that happens, do this. But tons of integrations, lots of tools use Zapier. Zapier works with almost everything. So really good from that point of view. We're bigger fans, though, of Make. It has a bit of a steeper learning curve, but much more powerful. So we can introduce ideas of looping and other programmatic concepts into Make quite easily. Still drag and drop, but because it has this sort of larger range of options, again, bit of a steeper learning curve. And then finally, another great one is Pipeline, which is really good for developers, connecting a lot of tools that developers might use or automating elements of your development process. Really, really powerful. So every business is different. There'll almost certainly be tools specific to your industry, department, or business as a whole. So this is really just a starting point for you. But there's a list of some of the sort of practical everyday tools that fit on that utility goal. So what are your next steps? Well, there's a couple of things. We have an AI adoption process. So when we look at current use of AI in the business, specific risks for your business, specific AI opportunities, high-level implementation plan, high-level investment required, and whether there's a business case. So this is something you should do. And before you jump in and start changing your whole business, it's worth investing a small amount of time and money going through this type of assessment. It takes about 3 to 5 weeks. And allows you to make an informed business decision before you jump in and start AIing your whole business. But what you also might want to do is try one of our AI workshops. They're not very expensive, and the best starting point is the introduction to generative AI for business leaders, and you might want to do some of the others as well. But that will really, as much as this webinar has hopefully given you some direction, that workshop really intensive and will give you the opportunity to really explore not just all that we've covered today, but how that can be applied in your business, with real examples to work through as well. And at the moment, you can save 40% with our offer code of intro40. So use that. So there are a couple of next steps you might want to use. And if you do, please give us a call or visit our website for more information about us. And we'd love to work with you. And I hope you adopt AI and make superheroes of your people. AI superheroes. That's what we want to see.